Hello children, in the last video we discussed meter bridge and its applications. Now in this video we are going to discuss potentiometer, which is the last topic of your this chapter, current electricity. Potentiometer. Now potentiometer is an instrument which is used to compare EMF, determine internal resistance of a cell, and also for calculating EMF of another cell with the EMF of a reference cell, right? Let's see what exactly a potentiometer is like. Construction of potentiometer. Construction. You have seen in the lab, a potentiometer is like this. It has got a number of copper stripes. One copper stripe is here. We have a copper wire, and the stripe here, and the copper wire, yet another stripe here, another wire, and like this a number of copper wires are connected together like this, right? Let's count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and this is 8. So you can ask, why we are connecting so many copper wires? The answer is, you see, these wires are made up of constant of magnetin. These alloys, as you know, they have high resistivity, and they also have a small value for temperature coefficient of resistance. They have uniform cross section, and length of each wire is 1 meter. Here we have connected a scale to know exactly what length we are using. 0 is here and 100 is here. Now why we are connecting so many wires in series? The answer is that potentiometer is a very sensitive instrument and requires a long length of a wire. Now suppose, for example, in this I have shown 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. It may have anywhere between 8 to 10 wires, each having length 1 meter, connected in series like this. Now connected in series is, the advantage is that these copper stripes have got negligible resistance. So this wire, when I look at the whole arrangement, it behaves like a single wire having what length? 8 meters. But you know, in laboratory, if you make one bench of 8 meters, then only we can put what? A wire of length 1 meter. And having a bench, single bench of 8 meters length is quite difficult. Also it is very difficult to perform the experiment and locate the neutral point or the null point. Therefore, we don't use a single wire, we use what? A combination of wires. Now if I call this end as A, and I call this end as what? B, I'll let it here. Then this arrangement acts like what? A single wire. I can say this is A and this is B. It is as good as having what? A single wire, because this copper stripes have got negligible resistance. And children, this whole setup is mounted on a wooden board, which I have seen in the lab. Now once we got this arrangement ready, then we have to apply what? A battery. So battery will be connected between the first wire out here. We need a small battery, 2 volts is enough. Then we will place a key. This key is K. Let's not close it. And then here we will connect what? A rheostat. And then we will connect it at the other end B. So this becomes your circuit. Now this battery will be supplying current into this wire. You can see this current will travel like this, right? And this circuit which I am applying, once I close the key, the current is set up. This is called driving circuit. What do you call it? Driving or auxiliary circuit. Auxiliary circuit. This circuit is used for supplying current in the circuit. Clear? So the construction is It has 8 to 10 wires of length 1 meter each connected with the help of copper stripes. Okay, children? Right, a DC source is connected across the first and the last stripe. A DC source connected across ends A and B acts as driving circuit. So our circuit is ready, right? Once it is ready, then we can start using it. If I look at the single wire circuit, the analogy of this combination of wires, then here I am connecting a battery, a cell, a key, and then a rheostat. Basically the same circuit. If you have difficulty drawing this in the exam, you can just draw this one also, right? Now we will be seeing applications of this device. What is the application? It has two applications. One is applications. First one is comparison of EMF of two cells. How do you compare EMF of two cells? Now remember, very important, if I am applying here suppose a 2 volt cell, then I can only compare EMFs which are less than 2. Means EMF which has to be compared has to be less than the EMF of the driving battery. It's very important for you to understand. If this is 2 volts, I cannot compare more than 2 volts. If it is 4 volts, I can compare anything which is less than 4 volts. Clear? Let's understand what will you do. For comparing EMF of two cells, I will connect both the cells in parallel. I will redraw the circuit because the circuit is very big and I am not able to accommodate the cells out here. So I will redraw the circuit. Children, these are the wires that we have connected. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? These are the copper stripes as you have seen, right? Yes, this is the auxiliary battery. If I want, I can connect more. I can have a battery out here, key, and then this is the rheostat, right? And this is connected at the other end out here, right? If I want to compare EMF of two cells, then I will connect both the cells here. And then I will connect this to a jockey J. This is a galvanometer, and the other end is connected to a jockey. This is connected to a jockey J. Right? Remember, this key is K1 and this key is K2. First we are comparing comparison of EMF of two cells. Right? Now, there is one key here K1 This key is open. This is key K2 which is also open. Right? Now what I'll do is, very important for you to notice that both the cells are connected in parallel. See where positive of this is connected, positive of the two cells is connected, and the other end will be connected to the what? Negative. The positive will be connected to the positive. Right? Now how will you compare the EMF? What we'll do is, close key K1 and locate null point at length L1. So how will you do this? Try to understand. We'll close key K1 and then I will start sliding the jockey. Suppose I slide the jockey and the neutral point comes out here at position J1. Here. This is coming at position J1. Then what will you do? Your 0 is here, you are starting from here, and the last wire is here. We will start counting from here. This is a meter scale which is connected. Then what will you do is, you will start sliding the jockey, and when you touch at a certain point J1 out here, then you find there is no deflection. Then what will you do? You will measure this length 100 centimeter, 100 centimeter, 100 centimeter, and then you measure from this side. Right? I can illustrate it here. Suppose this is the battery, and this is how I have connected the two cells. Right? This is one key. This is the what? Other key here. This connected to galvanometer. This connected to jockey. And this is key K1 and this is key K2. Clear? Initially what I am doing, I am closing key K1 like this. This key is closed. I insert a key here. So this switch is closed. When I close this switch, then which battery is which cell apply? The first cell. And then I start sliding jockey on the wire. When I touch it at position J1 at length L1, I will find there is no deflection in the galvanometer. In that case, children, this length L1 will be corresponding to the EMF of the first cell. So close key K1 and locate null point at length L1. So E1 will be directly proportional to L1, or E1 will be K into L1. Now next what we will do is, now open key K1 and close key K2. Now children, what I will do now? I will open this key K1. This is open now and this is closed. This key is now closed here. So if I open this key K1 and I close key K2, then which cell is applied? First one was applied, now which is applied? 2. So I will open K1 and then I will close K2 and I will slide jockey on the potentiometer wire. When I will go to a point here J2, now J2 will be different. Same thing out here. I am closing key K2 and then I am sliding here and the neutral point came here at point J2. So I can measure the length, 1 wire, 2 wire, 3rd wire, 4th wire and 5th wire you can measure, right? Now this balancing length will come against the EMF of the second cell and it is what? L2. So here it says, now open key K1 and close key K2. Locate null point at length L2. So children, this length L2 will be corresponding to what? It will be corresponding to the EMF of the second cell. So E2 is directly proportional to L2, or E2 is equal to K into L2. Now I want to actually remove one confusion from your mind. Like here we have shown that L2 is more than L1, but that's not the case. If EMF of the second cell is more than the EMF of the what? First cell, then L2 will be more. However, if EMF of the second cell is less than the EMF of the first cell, then L2 will be less. If I divide these two, then E1 by E2 will be KL1 divided by KL2. K and K cancel out. So we come across a very important result. E1 by E2 is equal to L1 by L2. Okay, so keep this in mind. Alright children, before you go for the next application, we should understand what is principle of a potentiometer. That you should understand. Let's see here. They'll ask you this in the exam also. This is AB wire, single wire. We connect a cell out here. We connect a key, we connect a rheostat. Children, when I close the key out here, a current will start flowing in the circuit. Remember, this wire is of uniform cross section, so current is what? Same. Now as current, let's say the current is I in the circuit, as current will flow through the wire, then different lengths of the wire will have different resistances. Suppose I consider this length AC, this is L1, and then I consider length AD, this length is L2. Clear? Then let resistance of AC is equal to R1, resistance of AD is equal to children R2. This wire is of what? Uniform cross section, and same current is flowing through the wire. Then we know that R1 upon R2 is equal to L1 upon L2. You know this already from factors influencing resistance of a conductor. You have done that if you take a wire of uniform cross section, then resistance is directly proportional to the length of the wire, right? Now potential difference V1 divided by V2 will be I into R1 divided by what? I into R2. I and I we cancel out. So it will be R1 by R2. But R1 by R2 is equal to how much of children? L1 by L2. But R1 by R2 is equal to how much of L1 by L2. So we say like this, V1 by V2 is equal to L1 by L2, right? Or we can also write like this, V1 by L1 is equal to V2 by L2. We can write like this, or V by L is constant. If V by L is constant, then V is directly proportional to what? L. Actually children, this is the working principle of a potentiometer. That potential difference, very simple principle, that potential difference across a given length is directly proportional to the length of the wire, provided current is what? Same. And this V by L is called potential gradient. So what is the working principle? Potential difference across a given wire of uniform cross section carrying same current also, keep in mind, is directly proportional to length of the wire, meaning V is directly proportional to L. So if we take a longer length, potential difference will be more. If I take a longer length, potential difference will be more. If I take a shorter length, potential difference will be more. Very important here, V1 by L1 is equal to V2 by L2. And then we use therefore another term here, potential gradient. Potential gradient. Potential gradient is nothing but V by L, right? And then from here we can generate another very important formula. There is a linear relation. There is a linear relation. If I draw a graph, this is V and this is L. This is the graph. Linear relation. Unitary method you can use. Like if 1.5 meter has potential difference 0.8 volts, then 2 meter will have what? You can compare V1 by L1 is equal to V2 by L2. So from here we get potential difference across length x, Vx is equal to V by L, potential gradient into x. There is a beautiful relation. We will be using it for numericals. Okay? Alright? So we got the working principle. The potential difference across a wire is directly equal to length of the wire. Okay? Okay children, now we are going to go for the second application, determination of internal resistance of a cell. For this the circuit is very simple. Now here is the potentiometer. We start from this. This is a potentiometer, and the objective is to determine what is the internal resistance of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am considering 8 meters long wire, but you can consider any length which is more than 4 meters. Generally remember, the more is the length of potentiometer, more is the sensitivity, right? Now we are going to calculate internal resistance of a cell. Here I will connect the driving circuit first. Driving circuit has come. Now the key will come, the rheostat will come, right? We will complete the driving circuit, and we will connect the given cell here like this. Here we are connecting galvanometer. Now here I am connecting resistance R. Here we have another terminal. So this is key K1, this is key K2, right? If you want to draw the analogous circuit using single wire, then this is the driving cell, key, rheostat. You can use either of the circuits, whichever suits you. And here we have a cell, and here we have an internal, we have external resistance. Now here we have galvanometer connected, and here we have a jockey, right? Did the same thing. This key is K1, this is K1 and this is K2, right? Now we know if internal resistance is equal to R, and external resistance you already know. Actually this will come from resistance box. This is a known resistance. Okay. Then we know that E by V is equal to R plus R divided by R. Yes. So from here R becomes E by V minus 1 into R. This is what I am going to use. If I know the ratio of E by V, then I will multiply with the known resistance R, and I can calculate how much is the. Okay, now children, for comparing, for calculating internal resistance, we just have to compare the values of E and V. Now what I will do is, I will remove this key. In fact, if you see it here, this key is always closed. This key is always closed. I will directly connect it, and I will call this key K1, and I will call this K K2. It will be easy for you to remember. The battery is initially is always here what? Closed. What I will do first? K1 is always closed, and the battery is always through with the galvanometer. Same thing you can see it. The battery is always through with the galvanometer and jockey. So what I'll do is, initially K2 is kept open and balancing length L1 is located. I'll take the jockey and slide. Suppose the jockey comes here, this position J1. Same thing here, slide the jockey at a certain position J1 and length L1. This galvanometer will be showing no deflection. If galvanometer is not showing a deflection, that means this length L1 is the balancing length for EMF of the cell, right? So L1 corresponds to, L1 is located. Therefore, E is directly equal to what? L1, or E is equal to K into L1. This length L1 will correspond to EMF of the cell. Next, what we'll do is, I'll apply key K2. I'll close key K2. And then again I'll slide. This time the balancing length will be less. It will come at position J2, right? And with the help of the ruler, I'll determine how much is this length. This length is L2. So next is, children, close key K2. When I close key K2, this one, then this external resistance R has been applied, and you already know that R is basically what? R is known resistance which you get from the resistance box, right? So close key K2 and locate balancing length L2. So once I get balancing length L2, children, this length will be corresponding to what? V. So V is directly equal to L2. This implies that V is equal to K into L2. So once I know E and V, then I can calculate E by V is equal to K L1 by K L2. That is L1 by L2. And therefore, once I know E by V, I'll put the value of E by V here. Therefore, internal resistance small r is R into L1 by L2 minus 1, or R is equal to R into L1 minus L2 by L2, right? So we are very easily able to calculate internal resistance of a cell by this process. Clear? So what are advantages of, now children, many times they ask a question, what are the advantages of potentiometer over a voltmeter? So first answer is, it is more sensitive. It is more sensitive. Now what is the second advantage? Second advantage is, and this is important also, that it can measure EMF. It can measure EMF. Again they ask you, why potentiometer can measure EMF but not a voltmeter? The reason is that a voltmeter can measure EMF if and only if its resistance is what? Infinite, and it is difficult to design a voltmeter of infinite resistance, right? Because a voltmeter will always draw some current. But the advantage of potentiometer is that it does not draw any current, right? So therefore, it can measure EMF also, and it is what? More sensitive. Okay. Then number 3, it can help comparing EMF, and number 4, it helps in calculating internal resistance. So these are advantages of using a potentiometer, but the major advantage is sensitivity and it can measure EMF, right? This is a major advantage. Now how we can make, there is another term that they ask sensitivity of a potentiometer. What is the meaning of sensitivity of a potentiometer? Children, if you have a potentiometer which gives a greater balancing length for a smaller potential difference, then we say it is more sensitive, and its sensitivity is measured by using potential gradient. They ask this quite often in the exam. I have drawn two graphs. One is for a potentiometer X, the other is for a potentiometer Y, and see, this is V and this is balancing length L. I want you to understand. So X and Y, these two are potentiometers. If you study carefully, for the same potential difference, X has a smaller balancing length and Y has what? Greater balancing length. So remember, smaller is the value of V by L, more sensitive is the potentiometer. So here you can see V by L for X is more than V by L for Y. So that means potential gradient for Y is less compared to that of Y. So Y is more sensitive. Y is more sensitive. They often ask you graphs like this and they ask you to find out which is more sensitive, right? Now how we can make a potentiometer more sensitive? There are two ways. For a given battery, driving battery, we can increase length of the wire. So the first factor which will help us in increasing sensitivity of a voltmeter is by increasing the length, if driving battery is constant. Number two, if driving battery is constant, not constant, it's variable, then we should keep the current as low as possible. So we can increase sensitivity by increasing length of the wires. This is why potentiometer is having 8 to 10 meters long wires, right? So we can make it more sensitive by increasing length of the wire. The graph also says the same thing. More the length, less will be the value of potential gradient. Less the value of potential gradient, more the sensitivity. So we can increase sensitivity by increasing length and by keeping current low.